Hello everybody and welcome to the first ever Sunday review. So today I'm going to be reviewing Beyond Two Souls. Now, what can I say about Beyond Two Souls really? Beyond Two Souls I'd say has a good story. The story itself is a good story. You're playing the part of Jodie, who has this entity tied to her, and the whole point of the story is to play through her life. Now, the thing is with that though, it jumps back and forth in time constantly. You start out as an adult, and then you're back to being a teenager, then you're an adult, then you're a kid, then you're a teenager. Now I think the game itself would play a lot better if it played in chronological order. When the game's in order, I've watched it myself, I've gone through the entire game whilst it's in order, and I think the game plays a lot better because you can see why she did what she did rather than just playing these different stories in her life all mixed up. It all flows a lot better, I think. I think they just dropped a big ball there because the story itself is also a decision-based game, supposedly, where the decisions you make are supposed to affect the outcome of parts of the game. But because they've done it the way that they've done it, where it's all back and forth rather than in chronological order, what you essentially get is the decisions you make affect a cutscene. You either get a good cutscene or you get a bad cutscene depending on how you did, but it doesn't affect the long-term story of it. And even when you get to the end of the game, depending on everything that you did, you either get you basically just pick your ending. So it's either you live or you die, and if you decide that you live, you get to pick who you want to live with at the end, whether you want to be on your own or whether you want to be with people that you stayed with throughout the game. But that's it, you pick the ending. The ending isn't determined on how you played the game, which I think it should be. If you play a game a certain way, you live. If you play it a certain way, you die. If you spend most of your time with one person, that's who you end up with. And, you know, that's, I think, the way that the whole game is and it should be. I don't know, I just think that there is a massive flaw that they dropped there with it. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I think it should be more like Heavy Rain, where it plays through the guy's life, and depending on what you do depends on which ending you get, which brings me on to a different point of the game is based on two different people. It's based on Jodie's life, but then there's also this entity that's tied to her called Aiden, and they've both got two different parts about them basically. She does all the hands-on stuff, you run in, you do the combat, and she does all that side of things. But then you've got Aiden, that he'll go in and he'll distract the guards and do his part, and then Jodie can run in and do the combat perhaps with the guards. And that's fine in single player, but it's also got a two-player game. Now if you do it on two-player, there's not a lot for Aiden to do, and because it's not split screen or anything, I believe basically player 2 just sat around waiting to do something, and they don't do an awful lot. And when they do, it's just like, oh, I'm going to flip a table or something like that. I'm going to bash a barrel, but then Jodie does most of the game. If two player, that second player is going to get bored very quickly, and because they've done it that way, despite that it's an extra element to the game, I think it's an element they could have done without. Because it would have just been better, single player all the way through. But let's talk about the gameplay itself now. I'd say the gameplay itself is good. It's a non-glitchy game. It's not like Halo 3 where you fell through the floor constantly and kept killing yourself due to stupid glitches you had. I mean, there's pretty much no glitches at all in this. It's fine in that way of things. But the game itself again is also quick time based mainly. When you're in the combat stages, what you end up doing is you'll like press left to dodge this punch instead of being in a fight with someone and you actually take the person on. You're just pressing buttons to avoid doing stuff like that, or you'll be trying to sneak up on someone, so you'll hold X to run to a wall instead of actually physically running to the wall. Then it plays more like a movie because of that, and I think they could do so much more if you just did the stuff yourself. And when you're doing the quick time events as well, like it'll be come up and someone will be swinging at you and it won't tell you what direction to go in. You just got to figure it out, and sometimes it's really unclear of what quick time event you're supposed to be doing at that stage. And the game could just be improved if instead of doing quick time events you did everything yourself, and it'd solve both of those issues really. But I still like the gameplay, I still like the story, and I still like all of those elements about it. It's just if they just tweaked each bit just slightly, all of it could be made so much better. I mean, just looking at the trailer for the game now, you can see just how fantastic it is. I mean, the modelling, the texturing, all of it is just fantastic. I mean, you can see there William Dafoe and you can see Ellen Page, just how good to real life they look. The animations could be a little better, don't get me wrong, but I think technology is really coming a long way. I think. Look at that, special effects, everything, all of it is an exceptionally pretty game. Overall, this game I would maybe give it a 7 out of 10, and this game could have been easily a 10 out of 10 if they just improved on certain things about it. Just again, put it in chronological order, so the story itself is played in such a way that decisions you make affect the story. Scrap 2 players. 2 players pointless in a game like this, and that's pretty much would solve everything. Again, they were so close to making this one of the best games ever, and just a few small tweaks could have done it. But this is just my opinion anyway. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on what I've just said. And post something in the comments, drop me a message, whichever you do. But thanks for watching anyway. This has been the first ever Sunday review. Again, 7 out of 10 for this game. It's not bad. I'll see you next Sunday. We'll see what I can come up with on that one. Ciao for now, bye!